The stars looked peaceful that night.
This planet is not what it
Captain
seems.
Ryan Cole stood near the observation window
I've
of
heard
the
enough
Earth
of your
Fleet
theories.
command ship Horizon, staring at the endless black ocean of space. He always felt small when he looked out there, yet tonight something felt different. The silence was too perfect, like the calm before a storm. The ship's AI voice broke the quiet. "Captain, incoming signal detected from Sector 9, unknown origin." Ryan straightened his uniform. "Put it on screen." The main display flickered, showing a strange pattern of symbols and soft sounds. It wasn't any known language. The communication officers looked at each other, confused. "Can anyone translate that?" Ryan asked. "Negative, sir. It's not from any known civilization." Ryan frowned. "Then send back a friendly message. Let's see if they answer." A few seconds later, the ship shook violently. Lights flickered. An explosion sounded from below deck. "Report!" Ryan shouted. "Energy impact. Unknown weapon type." Another hit. The horizon turned sharply, alarms screaming through the bridge. Ryan grabbed onto the console, his heart racing. Who the hell is firing at us? Outside, streaks of red energy filled the void. Strange ships moved like shadows, fast and quiet. They were not human-made, sleek, silver, alive in shape. It looked like they were made of liquid metal, defensive shields at 60%. Shouted the tactical officer. "Return fire." Ryan ordered. The Earth Fleet answered with plasma cannons, lighting up the darkness. One of the alien ships exploded, but two more appeared behind it. They were surrounded, evasive maneuvers. "Get us out of here." The horizon turned hard to the left, but a beam hit the rear engines. The power dropped instantly. Everything went dark. When the emergency lights came on, Ryan could hear the sound of distant fires and crewmen shouting in panic. The communication screen flickered again, and this time, a face appeared. It was not human. The being had smooth red skin that shimmered under faint blue light. Her eyes were golden, glowing like stars. Her voice was calm, almost musical. "Humans of Earth," she said, "you have entered forbidden space." Ryan looked at her image, trying to stay calm. "This is Captain Ryan Cole of the Earth Fleet. We didn't know this area was claimed. We're explorers, not invaders." The alien woman tilted her head slightly, studying him with curiosity. "Explorers? You fired on our patrols." Ryan's voice hardened. "We only fired in self-defense. You attacked first." There was a pause. Then she smiled slightly. "Perhaps our sensors mistook your intentions. Your technology is primitive. Still, we cannot allow you to stay." Before Ryan could reply, the signal cut off. The ship shook again. They were being pulled by some kind of energy beam. "They're boarding us!" Someone yelled. Ryan grabbed his weapon and ran toward the main deck. The corridors were full of smoke and sparks. When the alien soldiers appeared, their armor seemed to flow over their bodies like liquid metal. They moved too fast. But the humans fought back. Ryan fired his pulse rifle, hitting one of the invaders. It fell, but its body shimmered and changed shape, almost like it was healing. Another alien jumped toward him, but he ducked and hit it with a plasma grenade. Explosions echoed through the ship. Ryan knew they were losing. "All crew, fall back to escape pods." He shouted that the crew scattered. The air smelled of smoke and melted steel. Ryan ran through the chaos, helping a wounded officer to the escape bay. "Go!" he yelled as the pod launched. He turned back toward the bridge, determined not to leave his ship. But as he reached the command deck, a shadow appeared in front of him. The same red-skinned alien woman stood there, calm and unarmed. Ryan pointed his weapon at her. "Who are you?" "I am Lyra," she said softly, "commander of the Valari Expeditionary Fleet." "Then tell your people to stop firing." "They already have," she said, looking around. "Because you've lost." Before Ryan could react, a flash of light filled his vision. The next moment, everything went black. When he opened his eyes, he was lying in a clean, silver room. Strange lights blinked above him. His body felt heavy, like gravity was pulling harder here. He sat up slowly, realizing he wasn't on his ship anymore. A transparent door slid open. Lyra walked in, her golden eyes glowing softly. "You are safe, human," she said. Ryan glared at her. "You call this safe? You destroyed my ship." She looked at him calmly. "We only defended ourselves. You humans are reckless. But perhaps you can still be useful." "Useful?" Ryan asked, confused. Lyra stepped closer. "We need to understand your kind. Your humor. Your emotions. You are unpredictable." Ryan frowned. "What do you mean, my humor?" Lyra tilted her head again, almost smiling. "Your crew was sending strange signals before we attacked. One of your men said something about ... Dog style? I wish to understand." Ryan blinked, confused and slightly embarrassed. "Wait, what?" Lyra nodded seriously. "We will begin study tomorrow." She turned and left, leaving Ryan speechless, for the first time in his career. Captain Ryan Cole had no idea what was going to happen next. Ryan woke to the soft hum of the alien ship. The air was clean but smelled faintly of metal and ozone. His bed looked grown rather than built smooth silver that curved from the floor like it was part of a living thing. He sat up slowly, rubbing his temples. His uniform was gone, replaced by a thin gray suit. He remembered the battle, the fire, the explosions, and the alien woman's glowing eyes. Now he was her prisoner. The door opened with a whisper, and 2 guards stepped inside. Their armor flowed across their bodies like quicksilver. Without speaking, they gestured for him to follow. Ryan stood. "I'm guessing this isn't a rescue mission." No answer. The guards led him down a long corridor filled with soft light and strange patterns on the walls. It felt alive, like the ship was breathing. Small lights pulsed under his feet as he walked. He tried to count his steps, but the corridor seemed to bend and shift slightly, as if the ship didn't want him to know its layout. Finally, the doors slid open into a wide chamber. At its center stood Lyra, the red-skinned commander. She was studying a glowing screen filled with human images, Earth cities, oceans, and words translated into alien symbols. She turned toward him, her silver hair glowing under the light. "Captain Ryan Cole, you are awake. Hard to sleep when your ship gets blown apart," he said. Lyra didn't react. "Your species has courage, and a strange way of showing peace." Ryan crossed his arms. "We didn't start that fight." She walked closer, her golden eyes calm. "Perhaps not, but your kind always looks for conflict, even when seeking friendship. It is ... fascinating." "Fascinating?" He echoed. "That's one way to describe getting shot at." Lyra studied his face carefully, then gestured to a floating table. "Sit, you will eat." Food appeared on the surface, small blue cubes that shimmered faintly. Ryan hesitated. "It is safe," she said. He picked one up. It melted on his tongue, tasting like sweet fruit and mint. "Not bad," he admitted. Lyra watched him with curiosity. "Your body language changes when you are pleased. Interesting." Ryan sighed. "You're studying me, aren't you?" "Yes," she said simply. "We have never met humans before. Your communication is ... unusual. Many of your messages contain meaningless phrases. For example, doggy style. What does it mean?" Ryan choked on the food. "That's not, it's not what you think." "Then explain," Lyra said, tilting her head. He rubbed his forehead. "It's a joke. Humans say weird things sometimes. It doesn't always mean what it sounds like." "Then what does it mean?" She pressed. Ryan looked around, hoping for a distraction. "It's complicated." She stared at him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Humans use confusion as defense, noted. He laughed softly. You take everything too literally. Literal thinking is efficient, she replied. It prevents misunderstanding. Or maybe it causes it, he said under his breath. For the first time, Lyra almost smiled. Perhaps. Silence filled the room for a moment. Ryan looked around at the strange symbols floating in the air. So what now? Are you planning to lock me up forever? Not forever, Lyra said. You will assist us. Your people are expanding into Valari space. We wish to understand you before more blood is spilled. Ryan frowned. And if I refuse? Then you remain a prisoner, alone. Her voice was calm, but the words hit hard. Ryan sat quietly. After a while, he said, Fine, I'll talk. But if you want to understand humans, you need to see us as people, not just experiments. Lyra looked thoughtful. Agreed. In return, you must learn about us. Perhaps then there will be peace. She tapped a small device on the table. It projected a holographic image of a planet red and gold with glowing rivers of energy. This is Valerian, our home. Once it was beautiful. Now it is dying. We expand to survive. Ryan looked at the image. So that's why you attacked? She shook her head. We did not attack to conquer. We attacked to warn. Her tone carried weight, like there was something she wasn't saying. Ryan leaned forward. Warn us about what? She hesitated. There is something far worse than our warships moving through this sector. It destroys both our kind. You humans are walking straight into its path. Ryan's stomach tightened. What are you talking about? Lyra turned off the projection. You will see soon enough. For now, rest. Tomorrow we begin the exchange. She motioned to the guards, and they led him back to his room. As he walked, Ryan couldn't stop thinking about her words. A greater threat? Worse than war? Inside his quarters, he sat on the bed and stared at the glowing wall. He should hate his captor, but something about Lyra didn't fit the image of an enemy. She seemed curious, maybe even kind. He wondered if she was telling the truth about the coming danger. And more than that, he wondered why she looked at him, not like a soldier, but like someone she was trying to understand. Ryan lay back, eyes open to the soft alien glow. Somewhere deep in the ship, he could hear the heartbeat-like hum of its engines. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but he knew. One thing for sure, this war had only just begun. When the lights in Ryan's room brightened, he knew morning had come, or whatever counted as morning on this alien ship. The soft hum of the engines was steady, almost peaceful. For a moment, he forgot he was a prisoner. The door slid open, and one of the silver-armored guards gestured for him to follow. No words again, they didn't need them. He walked quietly through the glowing corridors until they reached a wide room filled with strange devices, tables and floating screens. Lyra was already there. She stood beside a large transparent globe that showed tiny images of Earth cities. Her golden eyes lifted as he entered. "Good morning, Captain Cole," she said calmly. "Today we begin our exchange." Ryan gave a small smile. "Exchange, huh? You make it sound like a school project." "In a way, it is," she replied. "You will teach me about human culture. In return, I will teach you about Valari ways." He looked at the floating screens. "So where do we start?" Lyra tapped her bracelet. One of the screens showed pictures of human faces laughing, crying, shouting. "Explain these," she said. Ryan blinked. "You mean emotions?" "Yes, they seem unstable," she said softly. "You change feelings too quickly. It is confusing." Ryan chuckled. "That's what makes us human. We feel things deeply, good or bad." She tilted her head. "Why would you want to feel pain?" "Because if you can't feel pain," he said, "you can't truly feel joy either." Lyra looked at him for a moment, her expression unreadable. Strange logic, she murmured, but there was a hint of respect in her tone. He pointed at the screen. That one, laughter. That's when something funny happens. Funny? She repeated. Something that makes us happy in a weird way. Like when something unexpected happens, but not dangerous. Her eyes narrowed slightly. You mean like when you called your soldiers dog style during battle? Ryan covered his face with one hand. Oh, not this again. Lyra's voice was curious, not mocking. It seems your people use humor even in danger. That is unusual. He sighed. We use humor to survive fear. It helps us stay strong. Interesting, she said softly. Perhaps that is why you fight so hard. Ryan nodded. Maybe humor and stubbornness. That's humanity in 2 words. For the first time, Lyra smiled. A small, gentle smile that made her seem less like a commander and more like a person. Then perhaps we can learn from that. They continued for hours. Ryan showed her Earth's music, food, and landscapes through the holographic screens. She was fascinated by oceans. So much water, she whispered. Your world is alive. He looked at her closely. And yours? Her smile faded. Ours is dying. Our sun is unstable. We left to find a new home before it burns us. Ryan felt a sudden ache in his chest. He had seen enough war to know what desperation looked like. I'm sorry, he said quietly. Lyra turned away. Do not pity us. We adapt. It is our way. After a while, she changed the subject. Now it is my turn. You must learn something of us. She guided him to a circular platform. Stand here. He stepped onto it cautiously. The floor glowed beneath his feet, and a wave of light passed through his body. Suddenly, he could hear faint whispers, like voices speaking from far away. What is this? He asked. Our memory web, she said. Every Valeri is connected to it. We share thoughts, images, emotions. It keeps us united. Ryan's eyes widened. You mean you can all hear each other's thoughts? To some extent, she said. It removes lies. We cannot hide from one another. He shook his head slowly. That must be intense. It is, she said. But it also means no Valari ever feels alone. Ryan looked at her and said softly, sometimes loneliness teaches us who we are. Lyra stared at him. You speak in strange riddles, human. Maybe, he said with a half smile. But sometimes being alone makes you stronger. She studied him silently for a long time. There was something in her eyes, curiosity mixed with respect. After the session, Lyra dismissed the guards and walked with him through a long corridor. Captain, may I ask you something? She said, go ahead. When you look at me, do you see an enemy? He thought about it. I saw one when we first met. But now... He paused. Now I'm not sure. Lyra nodded slowly. Good, because I do not see an enemy either. The air between them grew still. Outside the window, stars drifted like silent watchers. For a moment, neither spoke. Then an alarm suddenly echoed through the ship. The lights turned red. A voice spoke in their language, fast and urgent. Lyra's expression changed instantly, sharp, focused. Report. She ordered through her wristcom. The reply was full of static, but one word stood out even Ryan could understand. Incoming. Lyra turned to him. It seems the danger I spoke of has arrived sooner than expected. Ryan's pulse quickened. What kind of danger? Her golden eyes glowed brighter. Not human. Not Valeri. Something far worse. Asterisk. The red warning lights flashed through every corridor of the Valari ship. The calm hum that once filled the air was now replaced by deep vibrations that felt like thunder rolling through metal. Ryan followed Lyra as she moved quickly toward the command chamber. Her voice was sharp and full of authority. "Shields to maximum. Bring the forward sensors online." Crew members moved like silver shadows, their armor reshaping as they ran. Ryan could feel the tension. Whatever was coming, even the confident Valari were afraid. He leaned closer to Lyra. "You want to tell me what's out there?" Lyra stopped in front of the main screen. Her eyes glowed faintly as she activated the image. The blackness of space filled the display, but there was something moving in it. At first, it looked like dust, then smoke, then shapes. Thousands of tiny dark forms drifted together like a swarm. Ryan frowned. "Debris?" "No," Lyra whispered. "It's alive." The screen zoomed closer, and Ryan finally saw them. Creatures made of black crystal, their bodies like jagged glass with light flickering inside. They were silent, but their movement was precise, almost intelligent. Lyra's voice was low. "The Xyler, they consume energy. They feed on light itself. When they come, stars die." Ryan's mouth went dry. "You've fought them before?" She nodded slowly. "Once, we lost half our worlds." He stared at the swarm. "Then why are they here now?" "They follow power," she said. "When your ship entered our space, it used an unstable energy signature. They must have sensed it." Ryan realized what that meant. "So it's my fault." Lyra looked at him. "No, it's fate. You could not know." Outside the window, the swarm moved closer. Tiny flashes of light showed where the Valari defense drones were already firing. But each shot vanished into the black haze. "They're absorbing the blasts," Ryan said. Double quotes, "Yes. Our weapons only feed them." The ship shook hard. A deep rumble echoed through the floor. The lights flickered. "Impact on the outer hull," shouted one of the Valari officers. "Seal the section," Lyra ordered. She turned to Ryan. "You said humans adapt quickly. Can you prove it now?" Ryan looked at the control panels, alien symbols everywhere. "I can't read any of this." She stepped beside him and touched the screen. A soft blue light passed over his hands, and suddenly the alien symbols changed into English. He blinked in surprise. "You could have done that earlier." "There was no reason," she said. "Now there is." Ryan scanned the controls. "Okay, we can't shoot them. Maybe we can blind them. They feed on energy, right?" "Yes. Then what happens if we cut the power and go dark?" Lyra hesitated. "The ship will be defenseless." "Better than being food," Ryan said. She looked at him for a moment, then nodded. "Do it." Ryan's fingers moved quickly across the screen. He shut down weapon systems, shield emitters, even most of the lights. One by one, the ship's glowing panels went dark until only the faint emergency lamps remained. Outside, the swarm slowed. The creatures seemed confused, turning in circles like a storm losing its wind. "It's working," Ryan whispered. Lyra exhaled softly, her golden eyes reflecting the dim light. "Impressive human." But before anyone could relax, a new sound filled the chamber, a low, grinding noise like metal scraping against glass. Ryan looked up. "What is that?" Lyra's expression hardened. "They're attaching to the hull. They will drain the ship directly." The floor trembled again. Sparks burst from the ceiling. A blue arc of energy shot across one of the panels. "Engineering section is collapsing," shouted a voice. Lyra's composure finally cracked. "We're losing control of the core." Ryan grabbed her arm. "We have to detach the lower decks before it spreads." She hesitated. "There are still hundreds of my crew down there. If you don't, everyone dies." Her jaw tightened. For a moment, she looked torn between command and compassion. Then she gave the order. "Detach Section 4. A heavy vibration shook the ship as explosive bolts released. On the screen, a massive section of the vessel broke free and drifted into space. Moments later, it glowed bright blue, then vanished in a silent burst of light, The bridge went quiet. Everyone stared at the empty void. Lyra's voice was barely above a whisper. Thousands gone. In seconds. Ryan didn't know what to say. He just stood beside her, watching the last spark fade away. Finally, Lyra turned to him. The swarm will not stop. We need another plan. Ryan thought quickly. You said they feed on energy. What about the star nearby? If we could lure them toward it, they would consume it, Lyra said. Exactly, Ryan replied. And while they're busy eating, we escape. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. That might work. If we can survive the pull of the star. Then we'd better fly fast, he said. Lyra stared at him for a long moment, then smiled faintly. A rare, genuine smile. Humans truly are insane. Yeah, Ryan said, but sometimes that's what saves us. She touched her bracelet again, sending orders through the ship. Engines roared to life. The massive vessel turned toward the bright light of a nearby sun dot as the ship accelerated. The swarm followed, hungry and endless. Ryan held onto the console, watching the light grow stronger ahead. He could feel the heat even through the reinforced walls. Lyra's voice was steady. If this works, the Xyler will burn. And if it doesn't? He asked. She looked at him. Then so will we. The ship plunged toward the star, engines screaming. Chased by a black sea of death dot, and in that moment, between fire and darkness, human and alien stood side by side, ready to gamble everything on one impossible plan. Asterisk, the Valari ship roared through space like a silver comet. Behind it, the swarm followed, a living storm of black crystalline hunger. The sun ahead grew larger, brighter, filling every window with golden fire. Ryan gripped the edge of the console. We're getting close to the gravity field. Lyra stood beside him, her face calm but her eyes full of light. Engines to maximum thrust. Prepare the magnetic sails. The crew moved quickly. Strange alien symbols flashed across the screens. The whole ship shuddered as the engines screamed against the pull of the star. Outside, waves of plasma rolled across the surface like fire oceans. Ryan looked at the heat readings. We can't get any closer. The hull's going to melt. Lyra didn't answer. She stared at the sun, her golden eyes reflecting its light. The swarm is still coming. On the main display, the Xyler were closing in, thousands of dark shapes glittering against the firelight. They looked like shards of night chasing a dying star. They're faster than we thought, Ryan said. Lyra turned to him. Then we must give them something brighter to chase. She moved to a nearby console and began typing commands. Ryan glanced at the screen. It showed a glowing sphere deep inside the ship. That's the energy core, he said. You can't. I can, she interrupted. If we release a burst from the core, the Xyler will sense it. They will follow the signal into the star. Ryan shook his head. That's suicide. You'll overload the entire ship. Lyra looked at him steadily. Not if someone stays behind to control the release manually. Ryan's eyes widened. You mean you? She nodded. It is my duty. He stepped closer. No, you said this was about understanding each other, about peace. You can't make peace if you're dead. Lyra looked at him quietly for a moment. Peace sometimes requires sacrifice. Ryan clenched his fists. Then I'll do it. Her eyes flashed. You don't even know our systems. Then teach me, he said. Fast. For a second, Lyra just stared at him, this stubborn, reckless human who refused to give up. Then she gave a small, tired smile. Humans, she whispered. Always trying to save everyone. She handed him a small silver device. This will control the release. When the signal reaches its peak, press here. Ryan nodded. What happens then? The ship will eject the core toward the star. The Xyler will follow it. But the shock wave may destroy us. Then we'll find a way to survive it, he said. Lyra looked at him one last time, her voice soft. If not, thank you, Captain Cole, for showing me what your kind truly is. Before Ryan could respond, another explosion shook the ship. Alarms screamed. The swarm had reached the outer hull. Lyra grabbed his arm. Go, get to the bridge. I'll stabilize the systems. Ryan hesitated, then nodded. Don't you dare die before I hit that button. He ran through the corridor as the walls trembled around him. Sparks rained from the ceiling. The floor shook like an earthquake. When he reached the control room, he saw the star filling the entire screen, an ocean of burning gold. The heat readings were off the scale. Lyra, he shouted through the comm. Ready when you are. Her voice came through, faint but steady. Now, human. Ryan pressed the control. A deep vibration filled the ship. The lights turned white. Through the window, he saw the core detach, a glowing blue sphere shooting out toward the blazing star. The Xyler saw it instantly. The swarm shifted direction, rushing after the core like predators chasing prey. They're taking the bait, Ryan whispered. On the display, the swarm hit the star's corona, and the sun exploded in light. A wave of pure energy spread outward, brighter than anything Ryan had ever seen. Brace for impact, he shouted. The shockwave hit the ship a moment later. The world turned white, then black. When Ryan opened his eyes, everything was silent. The alarms were gone. The hum of the engines had stopped. The ship drifted quietly in space. Outside, the swarm was gone, burned away by the star's fury. He stood shakily, looking around. Lyra? No answer. He ran through the corridors, heart pounding. Parts of the ship were destroyed, melted and broken. Finally, he reached the control chamber. Lyra was there, lying on the floor beside a cracked console. Her armor was scorched, her silver hair dim. Ryan rushed to her side. Hey, stay with me. Her golden eyes flickered open. You did it, she whispered. We did it, he said. You're going to be fine. She gave a weak smile. You humans always lie to give hope. Ryan shook his head. That's called faith. Lyra looked at him for a long moment, then reached up and touched his face gently. Faith, she repeated softly, as if testing the word. The lights in the room flickered back on, emergency power returning. Outside, the star burned steady again, peaceful. Lyra closed her eyes. Perhaps. There is hope after all. Ryan held her hand. There is. I promise. Her breathing slowed, but a faint smile stayed on her lips. For a long time, Ryan sat beside her, listening to the soft hum return to the ship, the heartbeat of survival. Then, faintly he heard her voice again, barely a whisper. Captain, I did not understand your jokes before, but now I think I do. Ryan smiled sadly. Yeah? Her golden eyes opened one last time. They hide fear and love. Then her hand went still. Ryan bowed his head. Around him, the silence of space felt endless, but also calm. Like the storm had finally passed. He looked out at the distant stars and whispered, You saved us all, Lyra, and you finally got the joke. The stars were quiet again. For the first time in weeks there was no fire. No alarms, only the soft hum of life support and the slow spin of the Volari ship drifting through empty space. Captain Ryan Cole stood by the viewing window, staring at the golden light of the same star that had almost destroyed them. It burned steady now, calm and bright. He could still feel the echo of the blast that had wiped out the Xyler swarm. Beside him, on a small pedestal, rested a silver emblem, Lyra's command insignia. He had found it near the cracked control panel after the battle. It was the only thing left of her. He took a deep breath. You were right, Lyra, he whispered. Faith is what keeps us going. Behind him, the door opened with a soft hiss. A Volari officer stepped inside, her armor scratched but polished. She bowed her head slightly. Captain Cole, the ship is stable. Repairs continue. We found several escape pods with survivors. Ryan nodded. How many? Less than 100. He closed his eyes for a moment. Still better than none. The officer hesitated. They wish you to take command. You led us out of the fire. Ryan turned to her. I'm not Valerie. Her voice was calm. You are now part of us. Commander Lyra said before the battle that you carried the spirit of unity. That was recorded in the memory web. It belongs to you too. He looked at the stars again. Then we'll rebuild together. Days passed. The Valari ship, now half-human crewed, slowly drifted toward neutral space. Messages were finally sent to Earth. When the human fleet arrived, they didn't come with weapons. They came with help. The moment the two forces met, silence filled the comms. Then Ryan's voice echoed across both sides. This is Captain Ryan Cole of the Earth Fleet and the Valari Alliance. The war is over. The real enemy was never each other. There was a long pause. Then the human admiral answered quietly, Welcome home, Captain. And welcome, Valerie. Cheers spread through both fleets. For the first time in history, humans and aliens stood as allies, not rivals. Weeks later, on the repaired Valari ship renamed Lyra's Light, Ryan walked alone through the observation deck. The stars seemed brighter now, as if the universe itself had taken a deep breath after the storm. He stopped at a small glass panel. Inside was a glowing crystal, the last fragment of the memory web. It held Lyra's final thoughts. He touched the glass, and her voice played softly, echoing through the room. To the human who showed me courage through laughter. If peace survives, remember that understanding is stronger than power. You taught me what it means to feel hope. Ryan smiled sadly. And you taught me that even enemies can become something more. He turned toward the stars. We'll keep your light burning, Lyra, always. Outside, the ship's engines ignited steady and bright. Like a new sunrise, the Valari and humans began to explore the galaxy side by side. Where once there was fear, now there was curiosity. Where there was war, now there was trust. And somewhere in the quiet of deep space, among the endless stars, a small trace of golden light shimmered like laughter carried by the wind.